There is one appeal before us. It's Appeal 2887. The applicant, Visionary Properties, Inc., doing business as Visionary Works, property located at 550 East Lancaster Avenue in Zone PB, seeks a variance from Section 280-123B to install a second wall sign attached to the south facade of the building. Yes, you're up.
Thank you.
Mr. Schock. Eric Schock.
Mr. Schock?
Yes, sir.
In case you might need these,
Oh, okay.
turn them both on. Okay. And there's one in front of you too, in case they have more than one
Okay,
person speaking.
what do you prefer? I come to the podium?
Yeah, that'd be great. That
Okay.
way, because that way they can see, and if you have any exhibits, you can lay them on the table. And the camera will pick them up so the people at home, and there's millions of people watching us.
Which is why they're not here with us tonight.
Now you make me nervous, but
Consider this not only a hearing, but a screen test.
thank you. Can you just tell me which is my good side first, sir? I have,
I think that's an advisory opinion, isn't it?
Go ahead.
I'll mark, I have three exhibits preliminary, which are the lease, the authorization for the general manager to appear for the tenant, and then also, in speaking with your solicitor today, I had a representative of the landlord sign off on the proposed signs, since it wasn't patently clear in the lease that it had, in fact, authorized the sign on this facade. Mm-hmm. So I'll hand those up as A1, A2, and A3.
Why don't we mark?
4.
Yeah, I guess we ought to,
Why don't we mark this one A1?
This is
the
their
initial
application package.
Yeah,
Sure.
application packet. We'll call that A1.
And then should I start with A2?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I'll make the lease A2. I'll make the authorization of the manager A3. I'll make the two signs potentially for the one we requested relief, and then a second alternate one, A4 and A5. And then lastly, I believe in this municipality, I am required to hand up the notices that I sent out to everyone. So I will make those A6.
Mr. Schock, I have the application and I have a copy, my own copy of the lease. I don't think I have A3, A4, A5, and A6, which goes right to the board.
Okay.
I do have a copy of, I think, the landlord's, what's offered up as the landlord's approval of the specific sign, but was that A?
That's either A4 or A5, depending on which one I showed you. In size, I can tell you. That one is, or that is A5.
Okay.
These are all, okay.
Yep.
These are for the record.
Yes.
Okay, I'll put those in the folder.
A5 is what's offered up as the landlord's authorization, correct?
A4 and A5, because there's actually, A4 is a alternate sign that's smaller than the one that we made application for, which the witness will testify. So we had him sign off on both in case when we went through our testimony, we went to the smaller one.
Okay, then I've got A5. I haven't got A4.
Well, isn't that the ones he sent us?
Oh, there's,
Yeah, those are two things I gave you earlier.
okay.
Those are the two. There you go. He's got them.
Does he? Okay.
He's got them.
Let's see, which is
A4 is the new elevation sign, rear sign, and A5 is the side view. Have they crossed off the rear?
No, there's a smaller and a larger, right?
Yeah, you'll see the dimensions.
Okay, A5 is 17 off the top, and A4 is 14 and 4.5.
Correct. The application references A5, but the witness will discuss A4. also.
That's what they're talking about. You don't have them. I don't think.
We'll have that exhibit for everyone, just without the signature on.
Okay. Oh, you have that with everyone?
We have that
in
for
your
everyone.
packet?
I'll give one out when we go through the signs. I just
Okay.
didn't, with the authorization, I just provided one for the record.
Okay.
Okay, and then with
Proceed,
regard,
please.
do you need any further explanation with regard to the notices? I sent them and I've provided you that form.
I don't believe so.
Okay, thanks. Have the witnesses been sworn? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Cassandra's going first. You can do them one at a time if you'd like. Go ahead, Cassandra.
I do. Cassandra Shad. First and last. CASSANDRASCHAD.
Okay. Cassandra, who do you work for?
VisionWorks?
And how long have you been with VisionWorks?
Since July 2nd of this year.
Okay, and what's your position?
I'm the general manager at the Radnor location,
Okay, and where's the store located?
550 East Lancaster Avenue.
Okay, and we've handed up an exhibit where Visionary Properties, the applicant, has authorized you as the general manager to appear and testify for them. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. How long has the store been in that location?
Since October 11th, we opened our doors.
Okay, and it's in a shopping center, correct?
Yes.
Okay, what's the name of the center?
St. David's Square.
Okay. I'll show you.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was just taking note. You're the manager of the new store?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay. I'll show you what I'm going to mark as, I believe on A7, correct?
Okay. That's what we're up to.
Yes. And I'll hand out copies to the board members. I think you have this in your packet, but in case you do not, I believe it's A7.
Okay.
And is A7 a plan that shows the kind of an aerial of the shopping center?
Yes.
Okay. And does it have depicted where the VisionWorks store is located?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Do you have a sign out front, what I'll call the front of the store right now?
Yes.
Okay.
And by front, we mean the east side of the building, the top of the page being south? No, north.
No.
No, I'm sorry, it would be
It would-
the, yeah, it would be the...
It is the east side, yes. It
would be
faces
the
the
east side.
parking lot.
Yeah, that's right, faces the parking lot, it is the east side.
So the current sign faces into the parking lot, correct?
Correct.
Now, have the patients had some difficulty in finding the facility?
Yes, they have.
Okay. Now, you do have existing signage for the store, as you mentioned. You have a sign on the front, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have some signs, some space on the existing freestanding signs?
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell the board generally, where are those signs located?
The landlord provided signs that are low to the ground, and the VisionWorks, because we're one of the last stores in the facility, is near the shrubs on the bottom, so we're kind of hidden behind shrubbery on the corners of the entrances to the shopping center.
Okay. So there are signs out on Lancaster Avenue that
Yes.
would hopefully tell someone that you're located in the shopping center, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, do any of those signs have the ability to tell someone where in the shopping center you're located?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. And is that really what the problem you've been having is? Someone's at the facility, can get to the shopping center but can't find the facility?
Correct.
Okay. If you come in the entrance, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the Lancaster Avenue entrance, that would be closest to 476?
Correct.
Correct?
Mhm.
Can you find the store if you come in that entrance?
Yes.
Okay. Why?
Because if you turn left, and you can only turn left at that intersection, coming from 476, you come up the hill, and you look to the right, and Vision Works is on the right-hand side.
Now, if you come in the entrance that is further from 476, is that where there's been a lot of difficulty?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happens?
If you turn right at that intersection, you come up the hill, and if you turn left at that first bend, people actually drive by us and end up in Micro Center's parking lot before they find us.
Now, is the goal of the sign that you're proposing, you can't see it from Route 30, correct?
Correct.
Okay. There's no intention to try to get new customers with that signage?
No, it's just so when people turn the corner, they know that that's where we're at, and that's the strip center that we're in. Because there's 3 buildings in that parking lot.
Okay. And, I mean, have you actually been getting phone calls, complaints, inquiries from customers because they can't find the facility?
I have. People call me from the Micro Center parking lot, where are you? And you just passed us, turn around.
Okay. I'll show you what we've marked as A8, and you can describe for the board what that is. Can you tell us what is A8 a photograph that you took?
Yes.
Okay. And what does it depict?
This is the road that separates the little building that I'm in from TJ Maxx, and this is the road that people drive past the store on.
Okay. And in looking at that photo, is the sign that you're proposing, would it be on the building that's on the left?
Correct.
Okay. And what would that face?
Oh, a hill and some dumpsters and trees.
Okay, so it's actually facing opposite, for example, of the main road in front of the shopping center.
Yes.
Okay, so again, very little recognition for someone who's outside the shopping center. They at least need to know you're there.
Correct.
Okay. Now, you mentioned there's 3 stores that are in your small strip. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
What are the other 2?
GameStop and the St. David's Dry Cleaners.
Is there a reason why you think you have you distinguish yourself from those in terms of this problem that you're having?
Well, we're new to the location, so people don't know that we're there. The Dry Cleaners gets a lot of traffic just because. And GameStop has something on the front of the building that faces the street.
Okay.
So,
All right. And where are your customers from?
I have customers coming from, believe it or not, Upper Darby. They take the train in. I have customers from Havertown that do the same. Paoli, Malvern, which are to the west of us.
Okay. So is it an instance that many of your customers have no familiarity with the area?
Yes.
You think that's different than a dry cleaner?
Yes.
You usually go to a dry cleaner that's in your neighborhood,
Right.
correct? Okay. And I'll show you the sign that was proposed. And it's in the board's packet, but I'll mark it separately as aim high.
This is the same as the A5 sign, right?
It's A5, right, without the landlord's notation on it.
This is now A9.
Yes.
Is this a new one, or you've already?
It's A9. It's the one I had showed you before with the authorization, without the authorization on it. It's the
Okay.
proposed
Same sign as the authorization A5 sign.
A9, the sign you're looking for?
Yes.
Okay. What do you hope to achieve by having a sign on that side that frankly doesn't face the street, it just faces some of the interior of the shopping center?
Just as another landmark, so people know that this is the building that we're in, and they're not driving around the parking lot.
Yeah. So if I made the turn into the shopping center, what happens now?
From where?
From the entrance that's further from I-476 off 30. So I come up into the shopping center and I turn left like the photo in A8.
Yeah,
What happens?
if you make the left, you'll see us then. You'll see the VisionWorks sign, and you'll know that we're in that building, and we're not across the way at Micro Center or around the corner.
Is there a reason why you wouldn't propose to put a sign just on that facade? And in other words, if you took the sign off the front facade and put one on that side, why weren't you proposing to do that?
Because same reason, then you wouldn't see us from the other side. If you come in off of 476, that entrance, you're not going to see us either.
Okay.
So,
Can you think of any detriment from having this sign facing into the interior of the shopping center?
no.
Okay. Obviously, the shopping center was laid out in this way, but is the problem you're having simply the nature of your clientele and the way this happens to be laid out vis-a-vis the roads?
Yeah.
So if you were, for example, in the GameStop space or one that faced 30, would you think you'd have the same problem?
No. Because it's a little more visible from the street.
Okay. And a lot of folks you have, they probably don't come to the facility, for example, every week like they would to pick up their driveway.
Right.
Do you have customers who come every 6 months or maybe once a year?
Yeah.
Okay. And where's the closest facility that you have to this one?
Exton would be probably the closest, and then Willow Grove.
And how far are those about?
Exton is about 15 miles, and I think Willow Grove is, I don't know for certain.
Okay. But
Willow Grove, I don't know how far it is.
so based upon that, it certainly makes sense that you'll have potentially, and you've just said you've had them, customers who have no familiarity or don't shop at the shopping center on any regular basis. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I guess it goes without saying too. Can you tell the board what exactly is your use? What do you actually do there?
We do eye exams, and we make and sell eyeglasses. So if you can't see us, there's a reason why you're coming to find us.
And
So.
is there an eye doctor?
Yes, we do have an eye doctor.
Okay, so he sees patients.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do people get appointments?
Yes.
Okay.
And we take walk-ins.
Okay, so but folks could be coming from 10 miles away for an appointment, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have for this witness.
Questions? Anyone have questions? No, any questions?
What's the role of your next witness? I want to see which the right witness is.
He does the sign installation. He's got more, he can describe the style of the sign, the size.
I mean, things like property dimensions, things like that. Would this witness be more appropriate?
Ed can do that. Yeah. Is it on, it's on the plan, is it not?
Well, I'll tell you what I would like to ask, and you can figure out which witness would be the best. We have two different limitations on the size of the signage that applies in a planned business district. 123A and 123B. 123A deals with total sign area, and 123B deals with the wall signs. And as you realize, because I can see it from what you filed with us, the 60 square foot limit is in B, and the issue here is whether we want to treat this like one frontage or two. But under A, there's a different issue, and that allows total signage to be 1.5 square feet for each linear foot of building frontage. As I can see, it looks like you're 31 feet wide. Is that correct? And your frontage.
Right. So the front sign, I think, is 24 roughly.
Yeah. In other words, if you have 31 feet in the front, it looks to me that would limit you to a total signage for the property of 46.5 feet. not 60. 60 is an upward limit no matter how big the property is for wall signs. But the total signage limit would be based upon 1.5 square feet for your, applied to your frontage. So really what you really need is either for us to consider both sides as frontage or give you a variance with regard to sub A and sub B, both.
Yeah.
I think you only asked for relief under B.
Or if you consider the sign, just the sign we're asking for frontage, then as frontage, and as Mr. Reed will tell you, we're probably going to propose the smaller sign to match the front, then I think we'd meet that limitation. So in other words, the sign on the front is about 24, okay?
Is that 24?
Yeah. The side on the sign, if we put a 24 on the side,
If you have 24 on the front, then that's going to leave you, it looks to me, 22 and a half for the side.
but if all you do is consider the side the frontage, 24 and 24 would be 48, and the side is much longer, we would meet that limitation. Oh, sure, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we reduced it to the size sign that was just under 24, you're correct. We would need either about a 2-foot area variance.
You see, since you didn't ask for a variance under A,
Right.
and we haven't advertised it that way, we can't give you a variance under A.
Okay.
But if you kept it down to a total of 46.5,
Right.
and we just gave you a variance from B to allow you to put it on the second,
That's fine.
you see, that we could do if we want to under the application you filed.
Yeah.
See?
And the smaller of the two signs would satisfy that.
Yeah, no, not quite. They'd have to make it a tiny bit smaller to fit under the requirements of A.
Yeah, presuming that you kept the facade we have the sign on and called that the front. And my only point was, if we truly have two frontages, if you use the number along the facade that's much longer down the side, you probably would generate enough to be at 46.
Yeah, I don't think you asked for a variance to consider both frontages.
No.
You asked for a variance under B.
Well, but I'd say you'd only be considering the one frontage then. The same way you're using the front.
Yeah.
If you use the front and say 31 times 1.5 generates 46, correct?
Well, here, let me make my point this way, and then you'll see where I'm going with this. You have a limit under A.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't asked for relief from that limit. So the only way we could grant you the relief under your application that gets you anywhere near where you want is to stay within that limit on total signage. If you stayed within that limit on total signage, which you could do by making this new sign a little smaller than the one that's on the front,
Correct.
then if the board is so inclined after hearing your whole case and deliberating, we could grant you the relief under the petition you asked, you put forward right now. But if you're going to ask us to hold that there's two frontages, which you haven't asked in the petition, or ask for a variance under A, which you haven't asked for in the petition, we can't give you the relief you want today, I think. So I'm just trying to tell you, if that's something you could do, that might make it easier, assuming the board has no other problems, to work with this. Okay.
We can do
That's
that.
why I'm getting to the dimensional issues and who I should ask. And there's
Yeah.
another dimensional issue that I'll ask the sign person. Okay. Sorry.
Any questions? Other questions? No?
Have a question? No.
Okay, thanks, Ed.
Yes. Edward T. Reed, Edward Treed.
By whom are you employed, Ed?
Reed Sign Company.
Okay, and what's your affiliation with VisionWorks?
We install the signs for VisionWorks locally.
Okay, and did you install the sign on the front?
Yes.
Okay. Is the style of this sign designed to be similar to the front sign?
Yes, the style of this sign would be basically identical to the front sign.
Okay. Is there anything about the front sign that is, in your mind, less intensive than what typically might be on a shopping center, and you're going to mirror that on the side here?
Yes, I noticed at the shopping center there's a few different style signs. This particular sign is called what we call in the industry silhouette lit, which means it has an aluminum face and aluminum sidewalls, and that there's lighting in the sign that only shines towards the wall but not through the face of the letters. Now, there's both types of signs there, but this is a silhouette lit sign. In this particular sign, the VisionWorks has a red silhouette lighting, and the eye icon has a white silhouette light.
And then you heard the board member's question, which is if you take 31 times 1.5, it only leaves you, let's say, roughly 22 square feet left. Talk about the why you proposed this sign and what you think you need in terms of reducing it. And in other words, what's the minimum? Do you think you could deal with a 22, for example, minimum, and what was your goal?
Well, I mean, obviously, we want as much visibility as we can get. I think we can live with a 22 square foot. I think that would be, I mean, roughly the same size as the sign in the front wall, which is sufficient. I am curious, when we talk about square footage, I deal with a lot of townships. Is the square footage calculated by one rectangle around the sign, or can you encompass the sign with more than one rectangle? Does anybody know that answer? Because
Look at the definitions for a second. Let's see what we have here.
maybe you know that.
Yeah, it's probably in the definitions. Let me ask you this. You proposed this sign because obviously the wall was larger than the wall in the front, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It is by square.
It is one.
It is,
Okay.
yes.
So then.
Definition of sign area.
Okay, because with the VisionWorks logo, the eye is larger than everything else in the sign, so you square off from the eye icon. So there's a lot of space that's not really, doesn't fit the rectangle, real tightly, so that, visually it's not near as big as what it might sound.
Okay, so one of the things you might explore is if you took the logo on and used the name,
Well, you could do that.
You'd meet the 22 square feet,
Oh,
correct?
definitely.
Okay. There's probably some minimum, though, that you'd want, below which the sign's not going to serve its purpose, and that's catching somebody who turns in the driveway. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, and at 22, you think you're still going to be able to do that?
I mean, I feel comfortable with 22 square feet, yes.
And it's better than nothing on the wall. Is that correct?
Well, it's a lot better than nothing on the wall.
Okay.
It would probably leave us with a, maybe an 18-inch high letter, which is sufficient.
Okay. And based upon this being silhouette lit and where it faces into the shopping center at another place, I mean, you think it has any impact on anybody?
It doesn't have an adverse impact on drivers or on the roadway.
How about, have you been to the shopping center?
Yes, I was just there to take a look at it.
Okay. Can you tell us, in your opinion, if you think it's not going to be inconsistent with the shopping center?
No, it won't be inconsistent with the shopping center. As a matter of fact, there are some retail stores that do have two signs, namely Home Goods. I didn't inspect the whole property, but I noticed that Home Goods does have a similar situation where they have kind of two elevations, and they have signs on two frontages, or two walls.
And do you do a lot of work in shopping centers?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is what you've shown here not inconsistent with a lot of shopping centers that you've dealt with in terms of an end cap having two?
No, it's not inconsistent, very common.
And have you had similar situations where the second sign hasn't been to advertise to passersby, but has served a purpose with trying to get somebody into there?
A lot of the signage we do nowadays has more to do with wayfinding than it does with advertising, with the vehicular traffic, to make it as simple as you can to get somebody from point A to point B. Signage is a big answer to that.
Okay, now you mentioned the wayfind. As a matter of fact, do you actually have a lot of experience in generally in wayfinding, and is that what you're doing for a lot of clients nowadays?
Yeah, we've got a lot heavier into that. Like I said, in today's culture, everybody we have to be easy and simple, and we do a lot of work with healthcare facilities, and which is not totally unlike this, where we need to make sure people can find their way as simple as possible, both pedestrians and vehicular.
Okay, so for example, and I know of having worked with you before, Lehigh Valley Hospital, St. Luke's Hospital, you do wayfinding systems for both of them, correct?
Right.
Do you do it for example, for Lehigh Valley, for single doctor's offices? That would be a very similar situation.
Yes.
Okay. If you were asked to do, if someone said, "Look, there's no ordinance, but tell us what you do to help somebody find this, a wayfinding system," would you propose something like this? Or possibly even you'd be asking for something on the back, I suspect.
Yeah, possibly, but I can see why they chose the side here. One of the things I did notice is if I would say that, and maybe you're going to get to this, but the center is kind of laid out a little bit, not real simple to really understand the buildings. I'm sure it's a little bit older shopping center, but if you would go by the entrance and you're up in the giant parking lot, which I'm sure a lot of other people are, when you come down, you see this wall very well. And I think it not only helps out VisionWorks, but it also helps out the motorist to understand, yeah, there's a strip center here, and here's a store on the end. So we understand a little bit more of the flow of the shopping center, which is not, it is a little bit confusing, I would say,
Okay.
to navigate the drives around there.
Okay, and by choosing this side as opposed to, for example, the back wall, do you think you're having even less potential impact? In other words, the back wall might have some visibility from 30, is that correct?
Possibly.
Okay, and by trying to use this wall, you've even, in your mind, minimized the impact more from what, on any of the surroundings, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and based on that, you think what you've done, presuming this is reduced to the compliant area, is as consistent as you can get with the ordinance and still achieve what VisionWorks is trying to do and at least get something for somebody coming in that direction?
Yeah, I believe it does.
Okay.
Looks to me like the line coming north on the westernmost, furthest 476 entrance, but coming from the former Gennardi's, now giant parking lot, coming around the bend, where you would turn right onto this road as you headed north. Looks to me your line of sight would cover that entire building pretty well, wouldn't it? That entire face pretty well.
If you came in the entrance closer to 476 and came up that hill, is that what you're asking?
No, I'm coming down. I'm coming.
Oh, coming down the back.
Yeah, assume you're in the Gennardi's parking lot.
Okay.
And head around toward.
Which is now giant. There is no Gennardi's.
Okay.
I stand
Thanks.
corrected. I stand corrected. The former Gennardi's
Okay.
parking lot. Actually, we have to throw the whole case out because it lists a Gennardi's. There's no Gennardi's.
Right, it's tactical defect.
I'll make a motion to amend the plan.
As you come west and then down the access road, you're heading past, you've left the Gennardi's, you're heading towards the road that goes off to the right. You can see the TJ Maxx building, and then a little
Right.
further up you can see the facade, the wall of this thing, of your store. It seems to me that the line of sight there covers that whole area pretty well, so you could have the smaller sign and still be eminently visible as you're heading to exit, unless, from
Right.
Yeah.
towards 30, but, after you have your
Yeah.
giant purchases, you could still swing in.
That's very much the case. As a matter of fact,
Or if you get lost back there, which
Right.
is another.
right, and that's a possibility.
Oh, I know, I'm well aware of that.
But,
I mean, so I get it clear in my mind what you're going to ask for, that you're asking for. You're asking for a second sign, which will not exceed 46.5 square feet with both signs combined.
When combined with the front side. So
Right.
I would amend the application to reduce the size of the second sign.
Okay.
The variance is really to allow them to put another wall sign on a wall if it's not a frontage wall.
Correct.
Technically,
Right.
that's
The big
what
thing
they're
is it's
asking
not
for.
a frontage wall.
Or allowing them to put it on something that's not technically a frontage wall.
Correct. But because of its placement in the shopping center and its people's inability to maybe find it because of the second way in, that's his kind of hardship on this deal, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's their position, yeah.
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 Okay. I just wanted to clear my position up.
Yes.
In my
that-
own
So
mind.
you're amending your application so that it would be 46.5 square feet total
Aggregate,
for the
right.
two
Aggregate.
aggregate for the two signs. And you're going to have to reduce the 5A9 sign by a couple of square feet.
Yeah, by either reducing the letter height or taking off the logo, and we'd have to consult with if we were to do that, we'd consult with the client.
You cannot exceed an aggregate of 46.5 square feet for
Correct.
both signs.
Correct. That would be the proposal. And then, in not, for example, you might be able to see, for example, an 8-square-foot sign when you came down. Is your concern the folks turning in left still need something that's large enough to catch their eye?
Yes.
And that's why you'd want to try to stay at as close to the
Right.
22 as you could. Is that right?
Yeah, you need to, the deal is, both signs cannot exceed 46.5 square feet
Exactly.
In the aggregate.
in
Yes.
the aggregate.
Yeah.
So you subtract your storefront sign.
Yes.
Which you already have.
Yeah, I was only asking him to point that out to show why we couldn't even try to go smaller on that side, which
Well,
we
that's-
would if we
that's
could.
That's a logistics problem for you guys, not for us.
Yes.
Okay.
No, what's the height of this sign? It's not allowed to exceed 15 feet
It'll
over
have to meet
grade.
the requirement. We weren't
it has to
asking
meet
for
all
a
other
So you're
variance.
not asking for a variance from the height
No.
limitation on the sign,
No.
okay?
No.
Just on the fact that you can put it on a
Just total square
non-frontage
footage
sign.
of the signs.
Correct.
No, it's that they can put it on a non-frontage. They're not asking for a square foot variance, but that they can put the additional sign on a non-frontage wall as long as they don't violate the square footage.
Correct.
As
Yes.
opposed to
That's
putting
the
all
one
46
variance.
square feet in
Right.
the front, which, again, doesn't serve the purpose because
Yeah.
it doesn't have the
Right.
visibility.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that height limitation, just to be clear, that's from grade where the sign's mounted,
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
not the storefront.
Yeah, it doesn't talk about average grade or anything.
Right,
It just
okay.
says,
So where the sign's mounted.
it just says 15 feet above the existing grade. No portion of it can be higher than 15 feet above the existing grade or project above any cornice, roof line, parapet, wall, or building facade. I just drove by it, and I don't think that's up at the parapet or,
The grade actually rises up the side of the building.
I don't see I'd have a problem with that.
That's all the questions I have for this witness, although I did have one other question for the other witness that I wanted to ask her, if I could recall her. So,
It's great, no problem.
Cassandra, one question I had wanted to is, in another store that you're familiar with, did you have a similar situation and you asked for similar relief? In Exton, for example, the store you were talking about.
Yeah, I trained in Exton for a few weeks.
Sorry.
I trained in Exton for a few weeks, and we had a front sign, and we didn't have anything on the side street. So there was a problem there as well.
And did you ask for and get a variance in that instance because people were calling the store all the time also?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have for this witness.
Okay,
Okay, so with that, I
You-
move for the admission of the exhibits.
okay.
And you're stipulating on the record that the sign you would use would be in accordance with A5, A4, I guess it is, because that's a smaller one.
A4 less a few
Less
square
a
feet.
few square feet.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we don't care whether, I don't think the board cares whether you not lock off the trademark logo or just simply,
Right.
okay, just
Yeah.
want to make sure.
Okay.
And that's agreed on the record on behalf of the applicant.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think something else we ought to get on the record, just for clarity, is that we're not proving the electrification of the sign. You haven't come to us on that. You'll have to go through the normal procedure with the township, file the electrical plans, get for the permit and all that. So whether they allow you to illuminate the sign is subject to that. You've already gone through this business with the
And
front
we've gone through the
sign.
other one, and that was the reason we pointed it out.
Yeah.
We're not trying to get a billboard,
Right.
with lights,
Okay.
much more than what's on the front.
So we're only considering that very narrow issue, and that's
Okay. Jim?
there's nobody here to object. There's no one here at all.
Any other questions?
Makes
They're all doing their last-minute Christmas shopping.
Any other questions from anyone on the board?
No.
Since there's no one in the audience except at home and they're not talking, we will now
To us
proceed
anyway.
to vote. Jim?
I would suggest that we grant a variance to the applicant from Section 28123B to permit the erection of a wall sign on a non-frontage street not to exceed gross sign aggregate area of 46.5 feet, which would include the proposed wall sign and the existing sign on the front of the building.
That's the south-facing wall, the one specified in your exhibits. Yeah.
Is it south or north?
Yeah, it's
actually?
south-facing wall, yes.
Okay.
North is Lancaster Avenue.
Okay.
North side of the...
Definitely
Okay,
not-
right.
Definitely.
South.
I'm not as familiar with the directions, thank you.
I'm cheating. I have the key.
Brad?
Yeah, I agree.
Noah?
I agree.
Peter? I agree. So carried.
Hey, thank you very much for your time.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, you too, have a good holiday.
No further business. The zoning board of Radnor Township for December 20th is hereby adjourned.